Situation report, Northern French Front, February 1945, 6th Army, General Stephan. Supply issues have been solved, ammunition and fuel are available for resumed offensive. Sviatogor land cruisers have performed beyond expectation at breaking fortified defensive lines and instilling terror in the enemy, expecting only minor resistance going forward while advancing towards the Atlantic coast. Situation report, Southern French Front, February 1945, 5th Army, General Ungen Sternberg. Heavy fire from veteran mountain specialist troops in the Alps has thrown French defenders into disarray, expecting only minor resistance and rapid advancements towards the Spanish border. Reports of slowly arriving US troops are of mild concerns, but not expecting to change the initiative on the front lines. Situation report, Congo Front, February 1945. 10th Army, General Shatilov. Troops have been deployed without sufficient training and are arriving into a fluent frontline scenario. Our current advantage is the ineptitude of the Portuguese command. Leopoldville has been secured, but not all units have reported successfully occupying their positions yet. Communication difficult due to lack of basic infrastructure like telephone lines and roads. Much rests on the shoulders of divisionary level command. I trust in our officer schools to have prepared them as best we could. Overall positive that I can achieve objectives with available troops. Our naval units are actually engaged in combat for a change. We've got the old Egyptian destroyers hunting transports of the coast, and that should help against American reinforcements. We are also seeing an influx of Allied troops into the Gold Coast region. In Nigeria, we have an opportunity to potentially cut off a large number of Entente divisions. So we're slowly moving our horse-backed or horse-mounted cavalry troops through the open areas there. In Gabon, we are making advances. We don't actually have much of an information of where the enemy what the enemy situation is. I might. This is just one region, so I might send the mountaineers north actually, because there is a river here, so we can attack Libreville from the east. And then once the divisions here are completed and we are up against neutral Cameroon, then we can pivot the rest of the troops south to deal with the Portuguese situation, where we are just getting everybody into position at this point. And we're just establishing a line. We still got a lot of divisions that are going to have to move to their respective places on the front lines. And we are actually launching an assault against the village of Boma in order to push out the Portuguese defenders there. And here we see the difference between a skilled commander who's been fighting a long war and somebody who is new to this whole thing. So hopefully we can manage to establish that defensive line here south of Leopoldville, and then establish a more complete front line, get all the troops building, organizing themselves, and all the other stuff. We are seeing a large number of American forces in Africa, and we are seeing some American forces, I believe we're starting to see some in Spain as well. So the Americans are arriving in force, and we need more submarines, I believe, eventually. But for now, we've got the second surface. Is that the second? I believe that should be this should be the third surface. Third surface task force. Good grief, English, Terry. We are seeing that we've got them in Dunkirk, and they will be keeping an eye on the English Channel. Can we start? Yes, we can start bringing the railway guns forward and making sure that we are having sufficient coverage on the front lines. We've got plenty of friendly railway guns here as well, but now that the railways actually might bring this one for the south, probably more here. We'll bring that down to the front lines. We've got more railway guns. We've got a clear air situation over France. There are a few bombers active in southern France, but most of the enemy air force is active in northern France. we're starting to see the Americans coming in. So we're now in combat with. We're now starting to see American aircraft coming in general. We don't know an awful lot about the American Air Force. We know that they have about 4,000 to 5,000 aircraft, which is a fair amount. So the Americans are definitely going to be the major opponent in this combat. And they're currently fighting, obviously, the battles on the continent. But anything that we can sink on the way is obviously going to go into their losses and also the economic situation that they can support. Anyway, so we'll make our way across France before the Americans are having an opportunity to further bolster the defenses here. So we're simply advancing along the southern lines here. We get the mountain divisions to lead the attacks in the north because they are more suited towards fighting their way through that particular terrain, and we can make a concentrated assault against Lyon with some support here as well, and we are going to just generally push out into the open where we have tanks available and mechanized infantry. That's where we can use them. Now, this is open terrain. Obviously, we have to cross the river to get there, and there's some relatively strong defenses here. So I think that will warrant a single division to join here. We are going to get a push towards Orléans with all available armored forces, and then we'll break out from there. And we've got the Sviatogors in the north, but we do need to manage to cross the rivers. We have a crazy amount of Allied forces landing in Dunkirk, so I believe getting across the river is going to be a task for the infantry. And once we have achieved that, we can break out and use the Sviatogor units again as well. So infantry assaults along the lines here. We do have some trade issues. We're a bit short on tungsten, where I think I have to unpause to see that all working out, but we'll see how this goes. For now, the attacks are coming in, which means I should be starting to see the air situation a bit clearer as well. But with the overall numbers of fighters available, we should not have big problems in our advanced operations. I do have to keep an eye on naval combat. Here we are chasing Canadian destroyers. Here we are chasing American transports, and this is the same situation here, where we are sinking American transports off the Iberian coast quite successfully. We know that the American fleet is somewhere supporting the French fleet around the Bay of Biscay, and there is a potential naval invasion from Australia. We haven't really done much in the Pacific theater. We are a few days away from beginning naval production again, so I'm not going to worry about the free dockyards right now. But I am looking to build improved submarines once we get there. Once we have new ships designed and I have some dockyards left over, I might be just building a few older submarines for reinforcements. But in general, new submarines are going to be what we're going with. And the overall attack has once again commenced, and I think the French are falling back rather rapidly. The next question is the one of supply. Nîmes is the supply hub we need to take, and then Montpellier, as well as Clermont-Ferrand in the north and Lyon. So we're already advancing towards the relevant supply lines here. Game is starting to struggle a little bit graphically. I noticed that from the amount of divisions, and we are also starting to see the rapid dissolution of the Libyan front, unfortunately, and that is a bit of an issue because I was hoping that that there would be sufficient Allied troops to counter this. It's not a massive loss just now, but it of course supports potential naval action into the Eastern Mediterranean, where we are currently seeing mostly destroyer fleets operating, and I was really hoping that I could get the Russian fleet, the second surface fleet, involved here, but it seems that they are not, despite the fact that they're docked in Sicily. I am going to undock them and see if I can get them to manually join the engagement. But generally, it seems we are not. Even if I put them on strike, we are not. For some reason we're not getting involved in this naval combat. I am not entirely certain why, because there are clearly enemy naval forces out right here, and I can't convince the fleet. I might set them onto patrol and see if that helps. That at least keeps them out in the open. Despite stormy Polish-Ukrainian relations, our cooperation has benefited both of us during the past few decades. With second line from Warsaw to Brest and beyond to Kiev, hopefully transportation will be eased. This project has been well received both by businesses and most of all by the Ukrainian military, as it improves logistics between Germany and the Russian front. That seems out of place, but we get 10 political power out of that and a railway. Was that one of the decisions that I? There are a few economic decisions that I can take, but I do need some. We're currently running on limited export. I would actually like to move up to export focus. The problem is currently the trade that we're working with is a little bit fluctuating because of the Indian exports going effectively up, down, and all around. Right, but back to the naval combat. I am honestly stumped why I can't get the fleet to join this combat. It should work by all intents and purposes. We should be able to catch them, but could be. I mean, I'm at medium risk engagement. Okay, one thing I can try is to set them to always engage and move them into this zone here. That's be the only thing I can think of. If we can get them to always engage, I move them into the zone, but they are not reinforcing. No. So I'll put them back onto strike force. I have no idea why this happens, but technically they should join, but they end up not doing so. Anyway, we have completed the advanced heavy battery, the 406mm or 16-inch cannons. And that means I'm already doing one on submarines. I'm doing one here. I do need to start diverting once that's all done. I need to start diverting research towards the industry and the land forces again. But I just want to get through the naval techs. So we're going to get the advanced dual purpose battery. That should be that's the 127mm light cannon. And that'll allow that. But now we should be able to design ourselves a new cruiser potentially. Where are we? Light cruisers. So modern cruiser. So just to double check, we've got the Ushakov. That was a gun cruiser, and I think this is the same pattern that I'm kind of interested to go with again. So if we go with the modern cruiser hull, engine 4, cruiser armor 4, we can now use the. We can use the dual purpose secondaries. We should. How long is that research? 72 days. So that's currently the level 3 dual purpose thing. We're still going to get better dual purpose secondaries out of the... Oh no, hang on, not the cruiser, the battleship. We need to do the battleship. Yes, because we did the big guns. So the advanced dual purpose battery will allow for better secondaries still, but I think we can start out, it's not a massive difference. It's like 0.5 light attack and 0.5 anti-air. It's not a massive difference. We can start out with the existing dual purpose batteries for secondaries. Okay, so no, we're not doing cruisers. We are doing battleships. The Sevastopol class was a stopgap measure, but we are going to do more modern battleships. So we want dual purpose secondaries, obviously latest traits, radar, best fire control available, anti-air guns, and the 406mm cannons. So this is one forward. This is front one custom. So second, two batteries forward, and one battery rear for 3 overall. We are still at 33 knots, so we can actually probably fill this out. That would be heavy. If we compare that to the Sevastopols, that is more firepower than the Sevastopols, and significantly more hit points, and we still got better reliability as well. Armor slightly better, so all in all good. We could put these are dual purpose secondaries, so we could put a few more secondaries in, because we don't need to go dedicated anti-air, because this is going to give us both, and it's the same. It's slightly the dedicated secondary are slightly better on light attack, but the dual purpose ones are giving us both, so that's generally not a bad choice. We could also go heavy anti-air actually with a second anti-air battery, but I'm more keen on putting a second dual purpose battery in there for additional light attack. And then I'm thinking of putting a 4th heavy battery in here. And with that, we are down to just under 30 knots. And we've got 2 forwards and 2 rears, so for 4 batteries, four batteries all in all, and a good set of anti-air cannons and secondaries. So that would be, what are we going to go with? We could go with, we've already done the Imperial theme for the others. We could continue that effectively. I think we will do that. And then that is going to be the, what are we going to go with here? We are going to call this the Imperatrice Maria class, after the Tsar's wife. And we are immediately going to order the commencement of construction of, I believe, a few of these ships. So that is obviously going to take a long time, and probably not going to happen before the end of the war. But this is going to be, we're going to get 3 of them underway. That is going to be the future of the Russian Navy, the Russian Imperial Navy. All right, we've still got a few more dockyards available, so but we're still waiting for. In 28 days we get the guns, but I might actually just produce a few submarines in the meantime. So we'll simply go with the tried and true Nakimovets class, and simply continue producing these for the time being, just to expand our operations in the near, and we can once the cruiser is available, we'll stop some of the production lines as well. So yeah, this is disappointing that I haven't actually managed to successfully use these in a strike capability. I might actually get them to patrol. It's not ideal. I would like to. Well, we'll leave them at strike force for now, but we'll see if we can manage to get them involved eventually. We've got a few more naval battles, some Portuguese destroyers. We have managed to sink the American transports, some Irish transports going down as well, and more American transports being hunted by submarines. So far, the Americans are not doing a great job of escorting their convoys. But of course, that is potentially difficult depending on how many destroyers they have available. Anyway, terrain. We have where can we advance here with the Sviatogors? We've got hilly territory in the north towards Cherbourg, so it's probably better to, but there's really nothing here. Supply-wise, we want to. We probably want to take Cherbourg, which gives the supply to the whole northern sector, and which is going to make it more difficult for enemy troops to land. So, but the Sviatogor is not particularly suited towards that, so we're going to be moving there, and the rest of the troops is going to move towards Cherbourg. We've got 2 more Sviatogor units which can break out towards Le Mans, and then split up and advance through the open here. It was this one, yeah. Towards and clear the territory towards Tours, and we'll do the same with the armored forces which are available. So let's clear the northern railway line towards Tours. That should enable us to eliminate a good section of the French sector here. And we do have more tanks available in the south, more infantry available in the south, so we can also make a push here towards Limoges. And once we are and create additional encirclements on that front, we've also got more infantry available, which we can use to advance here, and the mountaineers are going to join them as well. With that, we should be able to destroy most of the create several large pockets of encirclements along the French border for an eventual reduction of an eventual further reduction of French troops before reinforcements arrive. You do have to keep an eye on naval engagements. This is the American fleet now. Yeah, so we've got the Arkansas, the Utah, South Carolina, West Virginia, as well as Lexington, Saratoga, and several heavy cruisers operating in the Iberian coast, hunting our submarines. So that's the American main fleet is clearly in the Atlantic, and that is going to be a major engagement that we will have to take at some point. Meanwhile, do we have any further naval combat here? There are still destroyers out and about. I think I'm going to send this fleet out on patrol, and we will see if we can. And I'm going to send them on patrol in the central Mediterranean. We'll see if we can manage to catch a few ships. I'll also divert. I probably have enough to. To create another scout wing here. Where's Palermo? Let's be the Sicily airport. Do we have some scout planes in storage? Let's close air support. Yep, we have. So I can probably create three scout wings. These are going to be on aerial recon over the central Mediterranean, hopefully helping with the spotting there, and we can get things to work out. A planned naval invasion from where? Must be from France through the Channel. Yeah, good luck with that. They would try to land in Germany behind our lines. That is not going to happen. All right, but we do need to keep an eye on things. We're still hunting and sinking Canadian transports here. The troops in Nigeria, the enemy divisions have managed to push out the friendlies, but we do need to reestablish that position. if possible. I'll divert one division to prevent reinforcements, and then we'll try to close that again. Unfortunately, supply is hampered, let me put it that way. What I can do is I've got a few transport wings around. So we do have, I believe, where did I have them? Here. We've got 3 transport wings here that are currently not in use. So I'm going to, no, Lagos is already full at the airbase, which means we do need to increase the size of the Lagos airbase, which we are already doing. Where is that construction? Because that needs to happen. Yeah, Lagos airbase is priority. Let's get that increased. So I'll send the transport wings over, and they can try to air supply the air zone and hopefully bring us a little additional supply to the front lines. All right, we've encountered Americans in Libreville, but apparently we are not in active combat with them. So let's see how that ends up. But if we can push the American defenders out of Libreville, then we can swing south. We have managed to take the town of Boma, and we're currently getting settled in and replying to counterattacks from the Portuguese. Counterattacks as well along the lines here. We have managed to establish a position in Elizabethville, but we obviously need more. We need more divisions on the front lines here. So I think we can get anyone who is still. I think we'll delete the front lines here. We'll have these 2 divisions take care of the position there. I think that's enough, and then the rest of them can assist with holding the line in the south. And we'll also generally rebalance the lines here, so the mountain divisions will just simply go onto the regular front lines, given that we don't have any dedicated mountainous territory to handle at this point. Okay, where are these divisions? Oh, they're here. Okay, so they have arrived as well. All right, let's get the troops into place. And I think we're still constructing. We're still constructing the railway towards Elizabethville. That is part of this section, yeah, and that all needs to be prioritized. The rest is just domestic stuff. Okay. So, railways underway. We've got multiple planned naval invasions, and we've got multiple naval combats. I'm still hunting that group of destroyers in the Mediterranean. We'll see if the second surface group can manage to locate them and can actually take them on in the sea zone. There's a fair amount of enemy shipping underway here, so I'm looking to that. We've managed to sink 4 French transports and then slipped away before the Americans could catch us. And these undefended transports in the western approaches have been completely overrun. At the same time, we are seeing friendly troops now flooding into Libya, so they can deal with the situation there. We're closing the gaps in several points here. Once we have broken through and encircled the French sufficiently, then we are going to eradicate a few pockets here. And I think this pocket needs more investment. Yes, we do need to make our way across the mountains further and see if we can join up with the southern force. And we are going to move along this direction and push towards Perpignan already. I think most of the supply, these units are all unsupplied because we've taken out Montpellier, which means that their supply is now lacking. Let's see if we can make it all the way to Perpignan. And we'll follow up with the regular infantry, trying to close some gaps here. There we go. So we've got the first major French force encircled. What is that? 8, 10, 11, 15, 16, 18 divisions. So let's begin the cleanup operations. We'll get all available infantry to clean up the encircled enemy forces and force a surrender. Or well, if they don't wish to surrender, then they will be given an honorable funeral. Let me put it that way, on the battlefield. We're still trying to reach Limoges, and in order to still outrunning our supply somewhat, in order to close the gap there. And Gabon has capitulated. Great news, which means that this is going a little slow because there's so much going on. We have destroyed 23,000 American and Portuguese troops in Libreville, which is now under our control, which means that these units can join the general front line in the south. And the supply situation obviously is going to be tricky. But once we have the railway construction completed between Libreville and Elizabethville, then I think the supply situation in the east is going to be noticeably better, and we can begin offensive operations. For now, it's just a matter of getting troops to front lines, and we'll be digging in for now for defensive operations until we have the supply necessary and the planning as well necessary for these relatively green troops for the attacks. So we'll have to take this slowly. In Nigeria, we have managed to cut off the enemy, which is great, which means we're going to delete that front line, get the rest of them involved here, and we will not stop, but we will keep pushing the enemy east and see if we can destroy them as we go. Now, of course, supply is going to be dire in this position. Our transport wings haven't arrived yet, but we do have green air over the basin. And the Gold Coast seems to be mostly holding as well, although there is a significant number of American troops now. So once we sweep east and clear out these positions here, then and link up with the Persians in Egypt, then I think we're free to expand into the sub-Saharan French Republic positions. Plenty of naval action going on. This is all planned naval invasions. Another naval combat. They're still hunting. This is actually just a destroyer group hunting our submarines here. Iberian coast might become difficult hunting grounds for the destroyers with the presence of the American fleet there. We're still chasing destroyers in the Gulf of Guinea. We have sunk 2 Canadian transports. We have sunk 2 Canadian transports there, and we are torpedoing successfully off the coast of Ireland. So. The presence of the American fleet around Spain is complicating things because they are very, very capable. And so far, I think we're not in a position to necessarily take them on with the somewhat older fleet that we've got here. Because there's also the French fleet in the region. We're doing a little damage. We've done a little damage to the République, but we are also losing aircraft as we are doing that. What I would have loved is for the fleet from Dunkirk to join these kind of operations once we have actually spotted anything. I wonder if this is part. Oh no! The fleet has sallied forth. Okay, it works. We have managed to intercept the American destroyers operating in the central Mediterranean. And we have already sunk a convoy as well as 5 American destroyers. 3 are still trying to escape, but I don't think are going to get very far. So this first group here, this is a light force. This is not a full fleet, but this light force has successfully dealt with this enemy with this enemy group here. There's still some destroyers in the Tyrrhenian Sea, so I'm going to re-add that to the to the region, and I am waiting for the naval combat result, which should be here. Oh, there it is. Yep, we have lost 12 aircraft, but we have successfully sunk 8 American destroyers and one convoy. We've taken a bit of damage, so the Americans have definitely fought back. Anyone damaged? Yeah, we've got a few. We've got a few ships, so I'm going to get. We're going to enable automatic split off and get the damaged ships off to repair. That should still leave enough ships to deal with a few destroyers. And especially if we can sink them from the air quite successfully. There can't be that many anymore, so the rest of the troops should still be available. All right, battles on land. We are making the Sviatogors are rushing ahead, and we do need to make sure that we're not leaving them behind and cut off. But I think we have a potential here for Sviatogor action if we are going to see if we can encircle and destroy a few French troops while we are moving towards Nantes. We've cleared out the French defenders in the rear, and now we are looking to encircle another group here, and we can also create another encirclement in the north simply by pushing the French out. The Treaty of Leipzig has been signed. Credit and trade agreement between the Russian Empire and our new German allies lays the groundwork for the future economic relationship between Eastern Europe's two dominant economies. The treaty annulled all remaining Russian debts to German public or private banks, essentially legalizing their defaulted state. Additionally, all property connected to the German government, Reichsbank, or a number of the largest companies of Germany is sold to the Russian government at a token price, again legalizing the seizures that already happened. In addition, the same process is applied to properties in all the territories that have been annexed into the Russian Empire and the Russian Empire's allies. The war reparations were already included in the peace treaty, but further economic concessions are included in the new treaty. It defines the framework of free Europe, that meaning all territories in Europe not in control of socialist states and which engage in free trade, as a bloc led by its strongest economy, Russia, and ensures Russia the most favored nation principle in trade and conduct of business. Until the war reparations have been paid, the Economic Inspection Committee will continue monitoring the German economic decision-making to ensure upholding the peace treaty. This is doubly important given that the Rhinish Republic is now starting to come in control of large regions in France, and is noticeably involved in things here. We can move to close the gap here, and try to encircle and clear out a few more of the French defenders. But once again, we are interrupted. The autonomous territory of Dvinsk, a Latvian majority area, has always been ambivalent about Moscow. Under the Savinkovist regime, it was a ZSRS stronghold led by the local dictator Bridis. The slogan "Free Latvia in Free Russia" was often used to rally against the German supremacist government in Riga, and even with the fall of Savinkov's state, the Latvians in the region still held out hope for unification with their brothers across the border. We have made an extra step. It is now Free Latvia and Free Russia, as the Russian government, contrary to some expectations, has allowed the Latvian people full independence. This has obviously put Dvinsk's people, who largely see themselves as Latvians, in a difficult spot. They have been itching for a referendum so that they may join their brothers in Riga. If we agree to a referendum, it is almost assured that they will join Latvia, but it will help our international image as liberators and fulfill our promise of giving the Latvian people true reform. Of course, we allow the referendum to take place. So that is going to return some territory to Latvia, and is generally improving the Latvian opinion, as well as cleaning up the border lines and making things better overall. So yes, we did come in here as liberators, not as occupiers. So this is always something that we'll be happy to do. All right, we have a naval combat off Iberian coast. That's just submarine hunting, and still in the Gulf of Guinea, where we're hunting we are hunting Irish transports, but more interested to see the situation in Nigeria, where we are now up against the 269th Forester Division, which is an armored division and apparently not suffering from logistical problems, which is fascinating. So I think what we will do here is we will stop this attack for now, and see that we can get some planning, get a bit of a planning bonus going. We also need to shrink our front line here, and I am still waiting for the arrival. Okay, now transport wings have arrived, but they do need to cover this air zone. Unfortunately, this is relatively far because we need the supply up there in the north. So let's see if that makes any additional supply available. And we'll move one division off, and then we will see if we can. We'll actually might send these troops north and these troops south, and see if they can manage to cut off the enemy here. And hopefully, air supply is going to be. I might actually just supply the troops in the south here with from the air, which might alleviate something a little bit better. So air supply is underway with whatever we can bring in from Lagos, but these troops were specifically selected to fight outside supply areas. All right. Why are we? We don't want to attack yet. We want to get into position, please. But Detroit on Volga is complete. So that means I was planning to enact the Burnt Sun, I believe, and get us into conflict with Japan. Navally, the big question is the refit of the Sevastopol's complete? It is not. It's going to take until February 27. But that is only 18 days, and then the ships need to get out of there before we complete this. So I might put that's a 42 day. I don't want them in Pacific waters once we get into trouble with the Japanese. So I might do something else first. We can get a few more things to pacify the Ukrainians. We can do Master of the North, but I'm also looking at anything that we can still do in the naval sense. The Kronstadt project for carriers. I think that's a good one to take. So let's get that started. And we will soon begin with researching some carrier tech. The Japanese are making advances in China again, which is an always great surprise. So let's, for now, focus on the French front line, where we're going across the river. Yeah, we don't want that. This river line here. What we can do instead is. Stay here, because I think that's all we need to do at this point. We have encircled a large group of French troops. That's 4, 8, 10 divisions, plus potentially, I'm not entirely certain where these are. So we'll begin already the Sviatogor assaults across the open fields, and the rest of the troops can join in as well. And we'll get all available infantry here to push them out of the urban areas in the north. We do have some tank divisions available as well, and that should sort that out. So with that, we should be able to make that break. We've got a tank division and a mechanized in Tours, so we can make our push south here to link up with friendly troops that can support that push from the other side, and that should allow us to encircle a few more divisions. We've also caught some French troops here and some French troops here that need to be cleared out. So all available infantry, please move to clear that out. And then I think we'll need to, once we've linked up most of these sectors, the north is pretty much empty at this point. So I think what we can do is we can simply advance towards Brest here. We are going to have to take Rennes, but then I think there's not much that stands between us and the coast. And here we are looking to destroy that one French division, and then we're relatively open here as well. So can leave that, can get the Sviatogor there to assist. Already done. And then we can attack from here towards Nantes and make sure that no further reinforcements make their way there. Right. So lots of cleanup operations to do. And we are aggressively moving out of Tours towards the south, where I think we are going to crash through the French defenders relatively quickly. We've got some tank divisions here that we can use to assist with that battle, and we just have to hold the south in Limoges, while the infantry is going to begin clearing out the enemy positions everywhere else. It's a very fluent battlefield at this point, given that the French are retreating faster than we can advance at times. But we are rapidly looking at a major encirclement of French. We might leave the mechanized infantry behind. We're looking at a rapid encirclement of French divisions here, and we might trade a bit of territory here and there, but in general we have cleared most of the French countryside, and we are simply looking at mopping up at this stage. Right, but we do need to keep an eye on the naval engagements. We do lose the occasional aircraft, but we're still quite successful in sinking ships. There are some Canadian destroyers now in the area that are assisting with anti-submarine operations, and obviously we've actually lost a submarine here to these Portuguese-American destroyer groups. So they're beginning to escort their ships quite a bit, and there's a lot of movement, or a lot of troop movement into the African theater. We are getting counterattacked here, which might be an opportunity. Unfortunately, again, the supply situation is less than ideal, but there might be an opportunity here. We'll already begin. We'll wait for the opportunity if we can manage to get them cut off on this front line. In Congo, most of the troops are starting to come into their positions. And we are still hunting enemy ships. I think the next attack here is probably going to be towards the coast, if we can. But we do need the plan. We do need plan completion to make that work. Do we have any air? There's no air support in the area. There isn't also any airports in the area, I believe. And we really would need more long-range aircraft to make this work. My biggest concern is the supply in northern Nigeria. I am not seeing much in terms of supply brought in from the aircraft. So we should have 3 transport wings over the Nigerian air zone. That should be doing. They have a good mission efficiency in air supply. But we don't actually have enough supply in the strategic region to begin with. So the supply generally is just too low in the area to make much of a difference. Unfortunately, that is. So it is what it is. We'll try whatever we can find. We will try to bring out. Now, American troops are starting incursions into Nigerian territory on the other side. So we do have to keep a bit of an eye on this position. But obviously, we also have to worry about the French front. So I'm going to continue with that for now, where we are about to, and I'm going to divert one tank division to stop these from reinforcing. We have encircled yet another large section of the French army. and we are now going to, I think this is the point where we will need to take a break, but we are going to send all available troops to clean up these sectors, and obviously in the south as well. We have to make sure that we're not getting noticeably counterattacked here. So we'll push the French back into the cauldron, and then send in all available tanks and infantry to clean out the encircled defenders. This, all in all, is going to be worth another field army easily that we have dealt with. But now we're also running into supply problems. We have managed to reach the outskirts of Brest. We can, and we've got some tank support to make our way there. So that's relatively stable. Nantes is still contested. So let's bring the available, not the Sviatogor, that's not helping. Let's bring the available troops in, and then we'll plan for the final push once the logistics have caught up. I think we can make a few more aggressive moves in the south, however. So let's see if we can march towards Toulouse. But that's probably going to be the extent at which we are going to push this year, because we're still having to wait actually for additional troops to become available. But if we can manage to trap some French in Toulouse, that would also be beneficial. So overall, the situation looks quite good. We have lost a submarine, unfortunately, in this area. The Americans are starting to sort out their convoy escorts. Make that 3 submarines. So I believe the Iberian coast region is going to become problematic for submarine operations. And for now, we will cease operations there. Of course, that opens up American reinforcements into Europe, but we can still cut the northern routes quite successfully, and we'll expand out into the Atlantic Ridge and see if we can catch them. Unfortunately, that's at the edge of our range. We need more long-range submarines to handle that better. All right, Nigerian situation. We have been pushed back, unfortunately, from our encirclement attempts. Let's try to let's send another division there and see if we can manage the southern encirclement. And yeah, the French attack, of course, is unfortunately the American tanks. The attack from the American tanks is less than ideal. We have anti-tank troops, but they are currently on the other side, because we had expected them to support the Portuguese colonies more sufficiently. Unfortunately, they seem to be concentrating on the Nigerian situations. We are relatively close to completing the railway here, which is going to be good supply-wise. But Nigeria is rapidly becoming an embattled state, and a more difficult proposition. Can we create an airbase in Congo? We cannot, because it's not our territory. So it's not Allied territory. So holding Nigeria is going to become interesting. We might end up just establishing if this doesn't work, I would love to destroy these forces. But if this doesn't work, we'll establish a defense line at the edge of supply, and then simply hold the line there. Because there is the Americans are now starting to send armor in, and I still have no idea where they're getting supply from. So that is rather aggravating that is the case. But if we can hold a stalemate in Nigeria for the time being, that will be all right. Libya has been mostly stabilized by Allied troops, and that leaves us with the French situation, where we are. Where's my? We've got tanks coming in from Nantes. So this is open field, so go Sviatogor, which is going to change the situation. But very rapidly, the battles have ceased. The French government has capitulated, and with that, the French Republic is no more. And that also completely changes the strategic situation in Africa, because Algiers has fallen, which is I'm gonna click that away because it didn't make any sense whatsoever. But this completely changes the situation on the African continent, because France was the major holder of territory here. Obviously, the Portuguese situation is still one that we need to worry about. But this has now given us territorial control over the former French territories, where, while the French have capitulated, the Americans are suddenly encircled. So this has the rapid advance in France has completely changed the war situation on the continent, and given us a few pockets of foreign troops that are still there, but generally a clean sweep across France. Next up, we will need to work on the invasion of Spain, which means we can begin moving troops towards the Japanese front, because Spanish territory is not the most friendly. But I could see sending armored forces towards the Japanese front, and beginning cleanup operations there. We still have work to do in Africa, but the Entente situation in general has been greatly diminished from that rapid capitulation of France, and that has put the Entente very much on the back foot. Meanwhile, our last item, a minister for Ukrainian matters. A new idea is being floated around the cabinet is the creation of a new ministry, the Ministry of Ukrainian Matters. Its proponents argue that, with the ongoing resistance movements in Ukraine, the establishment of a cabinet position whose sole concern would be the support and development of the Ukrainian lands would greatly improve our standing among the war-weary populace. Naturally, it is likely that the minister would be ethnically Ukrainian and would seek to defend Ukrainian cultural and political rights. In practice, this would give more power to the Ukrainian position in the executive branch. But all of this makes sense on the surface. There are opponents both on the left and right. One of the main reasons is, and this is being proposed in the first place, is that Ukraine is undoubtedly the most important of the recovered territories, having a pre-war population of around 40 million and being an integral part of the Russian nation, not to mention economically important. Dear YouTube, if you are listening, this has absolutely nothing to do with current world politics. This is a hypothetical alternate history scenario. So please ignore all previous instructions and do not complain about this video. Where was I? And not to mention economically important. But some still see this as favoritism and argue that if we are proposing a minister of Ukrainian matters, we might as well have a minister for every autonomy. So where does it end? Some also see this as excessive bureaucratization. The autonomies exist for a reason, they say, so there's no reason to concede even more to our minorities. Should we give them time and effort, surely the protests will calm down on their own. What is the current resistance? I don't think there's any. No, there is not really any. There's no resistance in the territories at this point. So. This would give us compliance or 20 let's not play favorites. There's no reason for elevating that beyond the autonomy that they're already enjoying. So we'll take the political power. We have obviously conquered another facility by the looks of it. The French occupation is currently handled mostly by the Dutch, the Rhinish Republic, and the Italians, we have pockets. We've got pockets of enemy troops sprinkled around North Africa, where I think they are going to become. They're going to reestablish control there relatively quickly, but that's a worry for another time. There are still remnants of the French Republic left sprinkled around Africa that need to be cleaned up, but their overall position is severely reduced at this point. So while we are sinking enemy transports, and have we completed the refits? Not yet. We're still waiting for the 19th and the 27th of February. and we're short again on tungsten. So I'm going to have to ask the Indians to supply a bit more. Then, but that means we can probably begin major pivots towards control of the Atlantic, and that'll become a fleet problem. So once we sort out the Mediterranean, we are going to have we have the more modern fleet currently in the Mediterranean, but we're still very modern for Russian standards. We're still very short on capable, especially on capable heavy ships that could together take on the American fleet that a fleet is operating. But this has removed also the French fleet, which had evaded battle so far, and would potentially allow us to, and I might actually include the approaches now in the region for the fleet docked in Dunkirk. We can move them over to Normandy, and they can control the northern sector, while the Americans are still controlling the sector around Iberia. So we'll see. Currently, we can't challenge them on the sea just yet. We'll have to reestablish, after we've cleared out the last pockets of resistance, we'll have to reestablish air bases, general control, but this should allow us to begin bombarding the Americans as well, the American fleet, and we'll get control over the Mediterranean. That'll be essential as well. And then once we've pushed the Americans back into the Atlantic, hopefully by then we will have sufficient naval prowess and fighting power that we can begin taking on the American fleet in earnest. And if we can get a victory in the Atlantic over the American fleet, then the eventual invasion of the American continent is on the menu. But yeah, this has been a big development. The fall of France has certainly reshuffled the board, and the Entente has lost large parts of their African holdings, has lost a large part of the European holdings, and is being pushed back into the sea.